Hey, awesome poli-sci class. We're about to go ask people whether they believe that Donald Trump is a good president, and multiple questions from our poll statistics, and we're guessing that he is not going to be liked. So let's go and find out. Yeah.
Coleman, and I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about our president. And what's your name?
Southern.
Okay, so I'm just going to start off the questions by first asking you, what is your political affiliation?
More democratic.
Democratic, okay. And number two question is, do you support having a border on the U.S. wall? Excuse me, that was necessary. Do you, let me see, do you support,
The wall.
yeah, do you support having a wall on the
No.
southern border of the U.S.?
No.
Okay, no. Third question is, do you think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
The media.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
The negative side, you mean?
Yeah, how do you think is he portrayed fairly in terms of,
Yes.
yeah, you think, okay. And how would you rate Trump on a scale of 1 to 5?
I'm not a fan of Trump.
Yeah, so is that
Can
meaning
I
toward
give-
like a
yeah,
3?
like maybe lower.
Lower? 1?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, something like that. Okay, so so can you explain kind of why? So maybe some of the actions done, do you have anything specific that you don't like in terms of what he's done?
I think that he is not being fair with the people
Okay.
that he is supposed to represent,
Mm-hmm.
and especially his recent a statement regarding the mass shooting.
Uh-huh.
To represent it as a mentally ill, not to name it something else as he usually does.
Okay.
I don't think this is fair.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Hi, my name is Anthony. What's yours?
My name is Benny,
Oh.
and I'm the second year of college.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
And I was just wondering what your political affiliation was. It's like a Democrat, Republican, Independent, third party, none.
Independent.
Independent? Oh, okay. And I was gonna ask if you agreed that, do you support having a wall on the southern U.S. border?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. And I was also wondering if you believe that the media portrays Donald Trump fairly.
No.
No? And how would you rate Trump's presidential performance on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is like really bad and 5 is excellent?
3.
3? Oh, why would you say this?
Because the lottery part that he just canceled to the, I don't know if you know about that. He just canceled the lottery chance for the immigrants to get in this country. He canceled that out because this country is not for chance to get in there, because there is a lot of positive things to do and there is a lot of negative things to do, and they do some of the immigrant, they do like negative part, and we don't like it, you
Mhm.
know. So that is a good part, but the bad thing, because I gave him 3, is because some of the people, he was the responsible. He was the reason that they hate other people. Like they were living with each other like for several years, but now they hate each other. Like 2 neighbors, now they're not anymore friends because of Trump's mentality that he introduced to the country as a president.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, divisive.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for your
Yes,
time.
sir. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
Pablo.
Nice to meet you. What is your political affiliation? Democrat, Republican, Independent?
With Democrat.
Okay. And do you support having a wall on the U.S. southern border?
I don't really have an opinion on that.
All right. And do you think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
Yeah.
Okay. And how would you rate President Trump's performance on a scale of 1 to 5 so far?
A 3.
Okay. And why would you say that?
because all the things he's done so far. I think he would, through his campaign, he said he was going to do more things, and he hasn't done them so far.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Greg.
Hi, Greg. I'm Megan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'm
you.
Leah.
Nice to meet you. So, what is your political affiliation?
My political affiliation. I don't really know at this time. I'm kind of. I'm not really left or right. I'm kind of like in the middle. I don't really have
Yeah,
opinions on either side.
Alright, for sure. Yeah. And then, do you support having a wall on the southern U.S. border?
No.
And do you think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
I think he portrays himself fairly, and the media just posts what he says about himself. He says on his Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Okay, and how would you rate Donald Trump's presidential performance thus far on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being poor and 5 being excellent.
Probably one.
And why?
Because he's separating us more than bringing us together.
I would have to say the same thing. There's been, I just feel like
More riots.
I feel like the world is going into turmoil
Yeah.
now that these people that support like the extremist ideals are more comfortable with coming out and showing that, and they're not afraid to, like in Charlottesville, they're not afraid to voice their opinions, and that's really frightening for just everybody.
Alright, awesome. Thank you guys.
What is your political affiliation?
Like party?
Democrat, Republican, Independent, third party, no affiliation. Okay. Do you support having the wall on the southern U.S. border?
No.
Do you think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
I think they just exaggerate it.
What do you mean?
I don't agree with like 99% of the things he says, but I feel like the media just feeds into him more.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't give him as much attention as he's been getting.
How would you rate Trump's presidential performance thus far on a scale of 1 to 5?
5 being amazing.
Yes, 1 being poor.
1.
Okay, why?
Every day something happens. He hasn't really done anything yet. I feel like he's just alienating the country from the rest of the world. Yeah, just a lot of things, but yeah.
Sweet, thank you very much.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
What is your political affiliation? Like, are you Republican, Democrat, independent?
Neither.
Neither?
Yeah.
So would you say like you're independent?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you support having a wall on the southern U.S. border?
I mean, I don't really care. I mean, whatever's,
Okay. So like
Work.
50-50 on it?
yeah.
Okay. Do you think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
Sometimes, not all the time.
Okay. And last question. How would you rate Trump's presidential performance, like so far, on a 1 to 5 scale? 5 being excellent and 1 being poor.
2.5.
Why is that?
Kind of in the middle. Like, not great, not horrible.
Why would you give him that rating though? Like, do you have any specific examples you could give?
I mean, he hasn't like blown up anything and done anything to like harm America in that sense so far, but he hasn't done anything to progress it either.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Thank you.
I'm Greg.
I'm Kyle.
Nice to meet you. What is your political affiliation?
My political affiliation is I am a Democrat, so I'm on the left side of the spectrum.
Gotcha. And how do you feel about the wall on the southern border?
I feel like it's degrading and it's not right because it's something that shouldn't happen because it's really unnecessary, and it's like a huge budget spending for that wall to happen.
Sure. And do you think Donald Trump, the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
I think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly because all the things that he does in the social media just reflects on what people say about him.
Awesome. And how would you rate him on a scale of 1 being poor and 5 being excellent?
Well, he can have his own idea presented on to the media, but I think it's very unprecedented of him to talk not professional to people, so I'd say 1.
1? Yeah.
1 as very poor.
Yeah, and do you know why? Why would you say that?
Because the way he acts on Twitter is just not right. He just calls up people instead of visiting them, especially when the Hurricane Irma or a hurricane that happened in Texas. For me, he didn't go there in person to actually help.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Grant, what are your guys' names?
Kimia.
Gage. Sweet, sweet. What is your political affiliation? Democrat, Republican, Independent, third party, or no affiliation?
Oh my god, I don't like politics. Let me get
If you want.
Neither.
I ruined it. Wait,
Okay.
I ruined the video. Let me just.
Yeah, we
I
can
don't
edit
like to
that
talk
out.
about politics, really.
Oh my god, just leave that. Go.
Okay, I'll just sit.
Okay, it's perfect. Do you support having a wall on the southern U.S. border?
A wall.
Yeah.
In the southern to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Not racist, but yes.
I don't think you're racist. Do you think the media portrays Donald Trump fairly?
No, not necessarily. I would say
Why?
because there's things. Everyone says good things. I mean, and most of the shit that they put out there of him is all negative. So I mean, not saying I support him, but I mean, not saying the media exactly puts him out there as
The greatest person.
yeah.
Yeah. How would you rate Trump's presidential performance thus far on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being excellent?
1, 2, maybe.
Really?
I mean, he has some good points, but then most of his points are not good, and so yes. But like I said again, I'm not a Trump supporter, but yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Both our poll and our interviews showed that most people don't think Trump's presidency has been successful. In general, the opinions in our interviews were not entirely reflective of the data our poll produced. This was likely due to the setting of our interview. Since we conducted our interviews on a college campus, the majority of responses leaned more towards the left than the right. Data from our survey indicated that most people do not think Trump has been effective as president. When asked to rate his performance on a scale of 1 to 5, 52% answered 1 and only 5% answered 5. The remainder of respondents were either neutral or somewhat neutral on his performance. There were many sources of bias that might have influenced the results of our survey. If we were to conduct another survey, we would make several adjustments. While some of our respondents were selected randomly, surveys from our family member and friends likely produced data that wasn't indicative of the entire population. The proportions of age groups, racial and ethnic groups, and political groups among our respondents were not true to the actual proportions in the United States. The phrasing of some questions presented bias, while others were too ambiguous. For instance, the question regarding Trump's media portrayal was difficult for many respondents to answer, as media is such a broad term. Different news organizations, such as CNN and Fox News, portrayed Trump in very different ways, making this question confusing to respondents. Despite the sources of bias that we've addressed, both our poll and interviews showed that most people are skeptical of Trump's performance thus far.